Hi, this video is just to show how I've been using Claude Code for the last 2 weeks, and I'm showing off my workflow with my little hobby project. Hopefully someone will say, hey Ed, use Ultra Cool AI Pro, it's better than Claude for what you're doing. Or they'll say, hey Ed, in Claude you should activate super smart mode and that'll debug everything for you. You're an idiot because you don't know how to use Claude. So that's my goal. This is just my little hobby RTS, and it kind of doesn't matter what my project is because I'm showing off Claude. But it's like, oh look, here's each character has individual stats, like in a tabletop role-playing game, and then it is also an RTS, so there could be like hero units or whatever. And so here Alice is going to take a shot at, and she misses, and she misses again. So that's basically, or I could select all of them, put them all into auto targeting mode, and they're fighting each other. Each of them rolling their individual stats to see if they actually hit the person that they're targeting. And Drake here has a little lit plasma pistol because it's not necessarily all just guns. So one of the things that I can actually show you, which I'm working on, has to do with I added melee attacks, but only range attacks are showing up in the experience. For example, that's just an example, one thing that's going wrong. So we'll go over this real quick. What I did, and I'm sorry that I didn't put this in before, but I had Claude create this brainstorming document, DevCycle 2025-12, and I just gave it stuff that I want to do with it. Here, I'm upset that the health is all the healths are 100, and I'm upset that the melee weapons, when they attack, there's no sound effects, it's just blank, unlike the shooting that I get when I shoot with ranged weapons. And I'm worried about, and I'm concerned that, it's not showing off in the character stats. It doesn't show off what melee weapon the character has, and it's not showing how many attacks are successful. So that's just what I gave it. And please create a brainstorming document, and Claude created this brainstorming document. Don't worry, we're going to have Claude create other documents. I'm just getting started, and I'll be fast forwarding through a lot of this. So you could see that Claude has created the brainstorming document, and it's got some information. I read through it, I made a few comments, I made a few decisions. That's not really my point real quick, but what happens next is I'm going to ask Claude, please create a cycle 12 plan document using the 12 brainstorm. Let's see how this works. It should just do it. Yes, I do want to create this document. And it took over a minute to do, which I was a little surprised about. Maybe I haven't been paying attention. And it creates this document. There are a few problems with the document. It's not matching the template that I asked it to use, which is fine. Anyway, so it's a little bit more concise. And wow, this is it does have some, oh, this is terrible. I'm going to go back and ask it to do again. Please. Okay, I took a little break and to do a sanity check on the video. After, I don't know, 3 minutes, took a lot longer than I thought it would. It came up with this. It's asking for permission right now. I'm going to make sure I'm gonna still enforce having it ask me for permission to do things, but soon you'll see that I'll stop doing that and just let it go. Okay, we have a new dev cycle document. So you see that it has little checklists of what it's going to do. Oh, it's going to do all these steps to generate health, or generate what the health should be, and has a little design specification. It knows some of the files to modify by doing its own research. Then it's going to do the next system. I've been after talking with Claude, we're calling them systems, not features, because sometimes it's a little bug fix, sometimes it's a bigger feature, whatever. Systems. And then number 3 is displaying the character stats. Great. And number 4, adding melee sound effects. Right now we're going to let it be the same one that I use for gunshots, and I'll figure out a sound effect later. And it has some checklists for itself to do unit testing and for its own health and checking things in, etc., etc. Oh, I forgot something. By the way, git checkout bdc_12. I make it a point that I need to start by creating a branch for it. We're on dev cycle 12. I've run through this kind of iteration. This is the 12th iteration of what I'm trying to do. So let's see. June 19th at no, it's actually 12:27-ish p.m. and it should have the PDT in there as well. And the last update, I think you could do a server thing to make it more accurate at keeping track of the date time. Claude out of the box is not good at that. So, as you can see, it took the brainstorming document, it separated it out into some individual steps, it put some to-do lists in it, and it separated them out. And I've taken a glance at it, which sometimes is all I do. Plus, this is a video that I'm trying to make. So the next step I'm going to have is I'm going to say, hey, Claude, read the plan document and ultra think about it. If you have any questions, please put them at the end of the document. So I've brainstormed. Claude has made it into a little bit more of a plan. I'm saying, hey, Claude, take a look at the plan. What kind of questions do you have? And then we're going to take a look at the questions, and then I'm going to answer them. Sometimes I iterate through it a few times, depending on how stupid the questions start being, or how deeply it's starting to talk about things that I don't care about right now, like performance. Like, what kind of performance hit are you going to get by putting an output message? And I'm like, I don't care at this point. This is a little hobby project. It's not going to be huge anyway. You could see Claude is actually doing some thinking as well, and it's outputting some of its thoughts. So you could read along. I still have it at a point where it's asking me for permission whenever it actually makes an edit to a file. Wow, a lot of questions. 20, 38, like 40 questions, which is a lot for me. I don't usually, I've gotten fewer questions with more complicated things. This is a lot of questions. Normally I get a lot closer to 20 or under 20 questions. So I'm just going to go through and answer these questions. Okay, I think the problem was that I asked it to ultra think, which is something that I saw on one of the tips recently, and I hadn't been using it because I'd just been saying think about it deeply, but their ultra think is a specific phrase that you could use. And I think it came up with a lot of questions that would be good if this was professional product, but not, or professional mature product, like, hey, let's talk about backward compatibility. Hey, let's talk about accessibility. So the reason I chose this, or the reason I came up with the idea for this while I was doing this development, was because I thought this would be a really easy dev cycle. Sometimes I get 3 dev cycles in a day. Sometimes I get 1. Sometimes I get part of 1. It's kind of like a sprint, but I don't like calling them sprints since I get like 3 of them in a day sometimes. Anyway, right now I'm going to say, please write my answers into the document, and if you have any other questions. Yes, make this edit. Oh, there are some additional questions, so I guess I will take care of those. Claude is sometimes not great at following my instructions. My instructions said, please ask any questions at the end of the document. It didn't. It just asked the questions here. So I like this question. It's asking me how I want the console output to look, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm glad you asked. Instead of just doing something, I prefer the second option, where you list both weapons and then you list that it's active. Okay, so time to have it. I think this iteration will be the last before we implement. Great, it looks like the plan is complete. I am switching Claude to auto accept edit, so it's not going to ask me for most things. It'll ask me for the occasional tool, like, hey, I'd like to try to do this. But as far as just writing code, it's not going to do anything. Let's see now. Okay, so the changes are committed, or the plan changes are committed, so I'm just going to let it go. Auto accept edits is on. I'm just going to let it go. Please implement cycle 12. And I'm just letting it go, and it's just going to scroll the stuff, but we won't worry about that right at the moment. At least in a simple, sometimes I'll have it implement phases individually, or if I think it's going to be complicated, I'll watch it. Oh, no. I'm a little bit surprised that it asked me to create the branch, because I won't go into it, but I have a document, a workflow document, a dev cycle workflow plan that I created, and I have it in the Claude MD. And one of the things is this, but I thought that meant that it knows that I'm the project owner, that I will be doing. It's one of the things that I want to do manually. So this is still a work in progress, figuring out my workflow plan. I think it's been 13 minutes. Thanks, Steam pop-up. Okay, that took him about 23 minutes. Took about 23 minutes. It did not update the implementation update. I'm okay with that. It did not update the document with stuff that it's done. I'm kind of not okay with that. Actually, I'm a little bit confused. I don't see where the changes were made. It did. It committed. I'm a little bit upset because I've told it. I'm going to have to manually tell it every time to not commit. I'm going to argue with Claude a little bit. This is a problem that's come up with me and Claude recently, that it started committing the changes. Usually I just want to do the stuff, and then I look at the diff and say, okay, this works, this doesn't work, and then I might iterate a little bit through different issues that I have with how exactly it did things. This time Claude took the initiative and added and did the commits. I don't know what to say to you, but what I want to say to Claude is I want to investigate why this happened. It says it's an error. It says it will strictly follow the workflow. I mean, do I really trust it? Yes, in the Claude commit has a link to the document saying don't commit without approval. And maybe I should have it add something to Claude.md so that it's a little bit more explicit. Let's see. Okay, so this is how it should have been. It's adding some stuff to the Claude file. This is just an aside. I'm just kind of part of my workflow, but not part of my typical workflow. Please add to but I don't know how much I trust the Claude.md to make sure that they don't do something that I don't want to do. Claude seems a little bit slow to me today too. So I can start taking a look at the diffs. Oh yeah, get combine attack. Just a few changes there. There it is. Play weapon sound melee weapon. That's good. Backward compatibility. I'm not really get ranged attacks. Melee attack. Okay, yeah. Attempted attacks. That's good. Look at the combat resolver. Yeah. Well, looking at right now, it's hard to, especially since I had to do 5 things. It's hard to know exactly what's happening outside of context. So this is me barely looking into it. If I care, if it's a change that I care about, I actually watch it doing it, so that I can make sure that it's not, or so that I can do a better job of making sure it's not doing anything wrong. If it's a melee attack, yeah, that's fine. Oh, good. It's changing it to range attacks and the difference between range attacks and melee attacks. That's good. Oh, good. Then it's making the change to how it's output that I'm not going to look at carefully in code because I'll just look at it. Yeah, range attacks. I'm a little bit worried that there's not enough melee attack stuff here. So that looks pretty good. I'm not going to worry about that. So I just do a quick check of how my project looks. Ooh, look, it has the melee attacks and the ranged attacks. What if I have Alice just start firing? Let's have Alice stop firing. And then let's have Alice. Oh, auto targeting is not working right. Okay, well, there's another bug, but not a bug caused by this, so I'll be putting it somewhere else. Okay, range attacks, correct that there were 30 attempted, incorrect that there were 0 successful and 0 wounds inflicted, because we know that a bunch of them were successful. Actually, total attacks shows it. I'm going to switch Alice to melee combat mode, have her attack one of her allies. Where did that come from? It made its own sound? That is freaky. Or did it? Is that one of the sounds that I already have? It just picked a sound. Yeah, it just picked one of the sounds that I haven't been using lately. I appreciate that it picked a sound. And the attack the melee attack was apparently successful. And it actually shows that the attack was successful. So I like that so far. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to stop this, close this. I'm going to do a double check on what I want. Oh, health. I want to make sure health was right. It is tracking that, but there's a bug. It is displaying that, and it is doing sound effects. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to check to make sure that health on new characters. Create a new character, create one. Let's create a Union soldier, faction Union. That's great. And then I'll add that character. Something went wrong. Here's another bug, because you don't know this, but this shouldn't be yeah, there's a bug here. I'm pressing a key and I'm getting the wrong but the health is right. So the health is right because the health isn't 100, which was what was happening before. The problem is that some of the other stuff is messed up in character creation. I don't know what caused that bug. Maybe I didn't test it properly before. I will investigate that offline. But right now, what I want to talk about is my process for handling the first bug, which is that and this is fine. I want to commit the changes now. and then what we're going to do is create another bug document for the one bug that I want to fix before I close out this dev cycle. The bug being that it isn't correctly tracking successful hits anymore for ranged weapons, but yes for melee weapons. Yeah, that works. Oh, whoops. I accidentally hit return. Let's see what it says. Okay. The total attacks are I'm just telling it to create a bug one. I'm hoping it makes a document because that's in the workflow instructions. It says to create a bug one, how to create a bug one. Oh, I just missed it. Oh, because it didn't update in the window. Yes, this is what is happening. I want it fixed. Yes, please. I should have made it compact. I should have called for it to compact myself instead of letting it run into it and do the compacting on its own. Okay, let's see if this was fixed correctly. Oh, yeah. Oh, I kind of don't care. I just want to see if it's right. Yeah, that is the danger. Some of this is going to be, and I've run into this. Where I have it do a change, it does it, it appears to be right, but later when I take a look at it, I see that it wasn't done well, but it was done right. Right now, I'm kind of okay if it's just done. I mean, if it just fixes the problem. Okay, I'm gonna have Drake attack. With a melee weapon with that terrible sound. One attempted, one successful. Oh, hey, look, ranged attacks and melee attacks are being tracked correctly. So, the code may not be good, but it's doing it roughly right. And one of the things that I'm additionally realizing right now is that thinking about looking at the diffs isn't as good as watching it actually do the changes as it goes along. So I should make more of an effort to watch the changes as it goes along, or have it do it step by step, which is also something that I've done in the past, but I'm not doing right now. Let's see now. What's next? This looks good. So basically, this looks good. Let's see if it understands what I mean by that. What I mean by that, and it's in my workflow, is to move the documents to completed, dev cycle 12 documents completed, commit things, merge it, delete the branch, so that I could get to work on dev cycle 13. Take a look. That's not right. That's not right. They haven't been moved to the completed folder. Oh yes, they have. It just took a while to update. I don't think that this is right. I think I have to. I wanted it to merge in the changes. It's part of the document, so I'm going to have it do it. And dev cycle 12 is complete. Let me take a quick break. Okay, so here's my summary. In some ways, this dev cycle was typical, but in some ways it wasn't. It was a little bit easier, but I ran into some problems that I hadn't before, because sometimes I was trying new things like ultrathink, and looking at the diff more carefully, instead of looking at it as it proceeds. I've stopped paying attention to every single line change that Claude makes, because it's just a hobby project. And the code pretty much does what I want to do. Claude makes the code pretty much do what I want to do, because I iterate on my plan, and I have Claude ask me questions about it. So it's a little bit more specific. It's clearer. But I sometimes find out that Claude does the things I want to do in bad ways, and then I end up fixing it later. Either there's a decent amount of redundant code in here. There were some like helper functions that I made that Claude ended up duplicating, and so it's like, oh wait a second, we have 3 functions that do the exact same thing. Why? So so that happens. We didn't really see it here because this was a simple example, but Claude can get really bad at debugging. If there's a problem, like there was a problem in this dev cycle, so I said, hey, there's a problem, and Claude fixed it. But if it can't fix it after the first try, then usually it's something that is too complicated for Claude, and I end up pulling up the debugger and just debugging it myself. And sometimes it's really easy. Some of these logic problems, logic bugs, Claude cannot see, and Claude will sometimes even ask me to, like, hey, let's add some additional debug information. And sometimes I'm like, okay, that's cool, I want that debug information anyway. And sometimes I'm like, no, that's wasteful, and you don't know what you're doing, and you're just throwing things out. So the debugging is I usually do my own debugging, unless it's or I have Claude take an attempt to do the debugging, and if it doesn't work out, then I end up doing my own debugging. Especially if it's not something simple like, hey, the value that you're displaying is wrong, or which could be an output problem, or it could be a logic problem. But if it's an output problem, Claude is really good at taking care of that quickly. I'm not sure what else to say. If you have any feedback at all, just let me know. I just wanted to make this as an example of what's going on so that when I talk about it, people who are interested can look at it and say, oh, that's what Ed's doing. And it's an example of how Claude can work. Claude Code can work. I don't know if it's the best way to do it because I've only been looking at this for like 2 weeks. I'm sure there are plenty of things that I do that could be done better. Okay, thanks. Bye.